Hello, 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 my name is Sam, otherwise known as Function, and here we are again, back in Supreme Commander Forge Lance Forever, the best RTS ever made, in my humble opinion. We've got another 1v1, a nice long one this time. I thought I would go through the replay vaults, look for a long, slightly more interesting game. But let's look at the players. In blue Aeon, we've got Pricky T, and in red UEF again we've got Milus. So both players starting land. Nobody queued up a second factory just yet. This is a long game. There are a couple lulls as far as I'm aware, so I will speed up the simulation through the slower parts. So keep it sped up through this very early game, not a whole lot happening. You don't tend to see Aeon too often actually. It's by quite some distance the least popular faction at the minute. Nice to see it today though, a bit more variety. Aeon versus UEF, I exclusively play UEF, so I quite like playing against Aeon. The upgraded gun on the UEF commander can one-shot the Aeon tanks, those Auroras, very low HP on those things. And the Zepham on the UEF gun will one-shot those Auroras. Take a look at the map. It's a generated map. Really like this feature. A 10k map. My favourite size. Got quite a lot of mass points. About 2,000 mass total in terms of reclaim. So not a huge amount, but like I say, a lot of medium expansions. 4 triple expansions on each side, plus a smattering of single mass points. Both commanders moving forwards, Milus moving faster. Slow it back down now that we've actually got things going on. Both players going for early air factories, but Pricky T has gone for the first bomber. Gonna get a shot off and a nice engineer kill. Not quick enough to prevent that expansion from going up. If it's able to kill this engineer, perhaps this one, that might be quite useful, but instead just going to go for T1 mexes. Not the most inspired use of a bomber I've ever seen, but not completely useless. Pricky T just sitting in between these 3 mexes. Looks like that's where he's going to make his stand. Milus, on the other hand, has gone right into the center, building a factory, queued up a T1 PD. Not a whole lot of units out for either player at the minute. Just a handful of tanks. Those Auroras, just 155 hit points on those things. 300 hit points on the strikers. UEF tend to have more hit points on their units than other factions. I think about 240 is standard for the T1 tanks of most factions, but just 155 for Aeon and 300 for the UEF. Speed up the game a little bit. Checked through most of the game to check for any desyncs, to check that it was a vaguely interesting game. A little bit of back and forth is what we like to see. So I'm aware that the first few minutes of the game are a little bit slow, but it does pick up later on. Got quite a lot of experimentals and some other interesting stuff to look forward to, so stick around for that. Small raiding party being slowly whittled away by that bomber, but it goes down to interceptor fire. This expansion over here in the bottom left, contested by both players. An engineer and a factory for Milus, but a few tanks in the area for Pricky T. Pricky T has built about a dozen interceptors, Just two, well, one now currently on the field for Milas. Milas electing to go for that Zephyr Amplifier. Let's have a look. He is stalling by about 100% on his mass. Bricky T, on the other hand, has got a good handle on his economy. Milas has built enough power generators before starting this Zephyr Amplifier, that he's not stalling power, which is always good to see. He's got a little bit of reclaim to get to support that upgrade on the comm. Now, the main advantage that Auroras have over all other T1 tanks is their range. Their range is longer than the vision range of most T1 tanks, and they're quite fast. They can move backwards while firing forwards, so they can kite other factions really, really easily. Well, that's about 60% done with that Zephamp. And in the meantime, Milas has managed to get some strikers into the base here. T1 PD goes up. It's not a lot of damage, I don't think. Just a single T1 mechs has been destroyed. He has absorbed some APM, which is quite nice, especially while you're producing an upgrade on the commander. Do we have... No, so Milas, I think, really should have a radar installation around here. The range on a plasma cannon is significantly longer than its vision radius. It's building a T1 radar now, very good. Yeah, if you want to make the most use of these plasma cannons, especially when you're fighting against Aeon, you need to have a radar nearby. No upgrades on Pricky T's commander, so if these commanders face off, Milas will come out on top, even with reinforcements, although it'll be close. But like I say, Milas can one-shot all of these Auroras with his gun. There you go. Just making light work of that. 3 quick kills. Both players actually electing to back off. Milas doesn't have the information that he needs to send this commander forwards. He doesn't have air superiority, so he can't be too risky with this commander. If he had more information, if he had more scouts going out, he'd probably know that he could go a bit further forward with this commander. That's a lot of mass and power that has gone into this upgrade, and it is now sitting static, not doing a whole lot. A couple of raiding parties ready, by the looks of it, for Milas. Not the best positioning, I think, for this party. Perhaps defending against a raiding party from Pricky T, I'm not sure, but better to keep the waypoints further forwards so you can get those columns of tanks into the fight quicker. But here we go, Milas now supported by tanks and using his upgraded comm to confidently march forwards. Even used an overcharge there, I think, to take out that tank, that factory, sorry. So he is going to take command of this small expansion. T2 units now on the field, Blazers, the T2 hover tanks. He's got 4 of them currently. Quite low on hit points, I think, the Blazers. I think the Pillars, the T2 tanks for UEF, have about 1600 hit points, just 1100 for the Blazers. The Aeon, of course, does have access to a different type of T2 tank, the Oblivion, which has a shield on it that gives it a lot of total effective hit points. But Milas sending in a couple of sections of strikers and some Lobos to support into the sides here, taking out another expansion. Get these 3 T1 mexes, that will definitely be quite valuable. And there were a couple of blazes that actually went down to these, just the T1 units here. So this squadron going to move forward, but got an asylum now. That T2 shield generator has come out, and looks like Bricky T worried about the air game. She's building some mobile flak, and because of it, looks like Milo's going to have to turn tail and run away. This flak, 2 kills total. With a T2 radar going up, let's take a look at the economies. Miles ahead in generated eco and in reclaim, but hasn't had time for that to take effect, so both players still on pretty much the same total mass. And another triple expansion going down at the hands of less than a dozen strikers, so Miles making really good use of these raiding parties. And this expansion here, returning to the dust. The upgraded commander, speed and range both completed on this AM commander. It's going to make light work of those mexes. T1 mexes, by the way, they're very cheap to build. They only take about, I think, 10 seconds to pay back their investment, so it may look like it wasn't worth Miles building these mexes, but it absolutely was. And now T2 and T1 units, including a shield generator, is just 2 hit points, not including its shield. They will make light work of the T1 forces of Miles. Bit of a lull here, we've got a T1 bomber, just going to take out a radar there, and a static flak, gonna get a bunch of kills. 7 kills there for that flak. Very valuable. And I was about to speed it up, but looks like we've got a quick raid coming in from these blazes. Going to meet Miles' commander, who's going to overcharge one of them. Wasted an overcharge there. I think there was only 1 or 2 regular shots was about to kill that blaze. Would have been much more valuable to just overcharge one of the full HP blazes and one-shot it, but no harm done overall. Bricky T with his upgraded commander moving a little bit further forwards. Gradually just going to tickle away at this factory. Oh, switching up to the engineers. It's a nice overcharge, and the T2 radar goes down, so would have been nice, to be honest, if Miles had tried to defend this T2 radar. That's really quite important to keep alive. Small units coming down from the northeast from Bricky T. I suspect, well, they might get some of these mexes, but mostly these guys are just going to be absorbing APMs from Miles. This significant T2 army coming forwards to support Bricky T's commander. Got a T1 gun, but with the help of that commander, his extended range and his overcharge, that gun won't be the most valuable thing in the world. Speed it up just a touch. Neither player investing heavily into air. 16 minutes into the game and no T2 air available. T3 land started for Bricky T. Over here. Take a look at the economies again. Both players neck and neck on total mass. Neither player stalling on either resource. This nice big army. There's a lot of T1 units here actually, for both players. Like I said, that T1 gun not going to do a whole lot. Gets a little bit of damage. But the commander from Bricky T just going to heal up that HP. T2 completed on this commander now, so 15,400 versus 13,200 in terms of HP. And it's going to start off a triad blueprint and allow his T1 engineers to complete it. Do we have radar? I did see him build a radar somewhere, but it went down, I guess, and another one being built. See what I can see. What is the range on this T2 gun? Not enormous, but certainly longer than anything Bricky T has available to him. We've actually got a significant number of riptides, so Miles wanting to make use of those floating units. He doesn't want to be left in the dust by the vast array of floating units that the Aeon have. So instead of building, well, I was just about to say instead of building pillars, he's building riptides, but as I say that, 2 pillars roll in and make me look like an idiot, so that's good to see. And an Oblivion turret, a T2 PD from the Aeon, goes down. These T2 engineers trying to get a PD creep on, but 2 of them go down to an overcharge from Miles, and then that Oblivion turret just one shot by Miles' triad. Bit of a standoff. Although Bricky T moving forwards without his units, we've seen this before. Got a big supporting army behind you. Don't want to just move out the commander on his own. He gets a nice overcharge, he gets a handful of riptides. Another one there. Looks like he has actually baited Miles to come into range of his units, including the Oblivion point defense. A nice overcharge, gets 2 blazes there. Both players tentatively probing their opponent's defenses. Nobody wants to really commit. But those riptides quickly taking down that Oblivion tower. Moving forwards, making light work of the Auroras and the Fervors. Turn screen shake back on. Let me know in the comments if you think it looks good, if you think it looks terrible. Just trying it out at the minute. But a nice mixed tech raiding party in the bottom left has taken out these 3 mexes. A bunch of civilian engineers gonna bite the dust, it looks like. A T1 PD goes down. Goes up, I should say. A second one has been built, and that will do. This T2 factory remains alive, and the Blazers would have been able to cross this river, so they would have been able to get into the soft underbelly of Miles' base on the left hand side here. Miles now with some shields of his own. How effectively is he able to use that overcharge? Quite effectively, actually. And activating a point defense creep of his own. Not sure why this engineer is paused. He's certainly got the economy to assist. Bricky T has noticed the danger, moving his commander out of the range of that triad, and a shield generator going down, so Miles drawing a line in the sand. A couple of Auroras over here defending these 3 mexes, so potentially will kill these engineers if they come into range. No, they're actually moving away. Ooh, and we've got a tactical missile launcher built over on the right hand side for Pricky T. Let's take a look at that range. It's in range of a significant number of structures, a couple of T2 mexes. So if we can take those down, that will be well worth the investment. And we've got T3 units now rolling off for Pricky T. Harbingers. Very odd looking things. Some blazers roll up to support those roars and do indeed kill those engineers. Now, a column of pillars. It's an interesting phrase, isn't it? A column of pillars. Moving in to take out those blazers. Engineers moving up behind to retake that mini expansion. Got blazers crossing the water. Be able to certainly take out this mex and these engineers here. And a couple of missiles away. No buzz kills at all. So a full T2 mex goes down. Looks like another one about to bite the dust as well. Yes, indeed. It's like a third T2 mex gonna die. Blazers taking out some power. We'll run into the pillars as that T2 mex goes down. Shield generator being started on Pricky T's commander. No body upgrade as yet for Milus. Pricky T should know that these mexes are upgraded because they're grayed out. You know that something has happened to those structures. You can only assume that they've been upgraded. Instead, going for that triad, furthest one back. But 3 T2 PDs. This TML has certainly paid for itself. Miles going to have to start building some buzzkills. He builds a couple over here, where his commander is. Got some sniper bots now. Sniper bots from the Aeon and the Seraphim, one of my favourite units. Very difficult to deal with, especially if the snipers have air support. Snipers can fire backwards, so they can just kite out basically any unit in the game. And if you've got air support, not even bombers can kill them. They're very fragile, just 500 hit points. I think the Seraphim equivalents have about 700 hit points. So, very vulnerable to bombers. If you've got enough support, you've got shields and mobile flak, air support, you can use those sniper bots very effectively. Currently, just deciding to fire into a hill. I thought this this part of the map was flat actually. Let's take a look. If we look at the cartographic view, you can see it's a significant hill. And those riptides crossing the water, deciding that floating technology does not belong only to the Aeon, taking out some of these expansions. Both players struggling to hold on to these corner expansions, although a T2 mex has gone down over here. Although a single blaze has killed 2 T2 engineers here. And is killing the blueprint of this T2 mex. A dozen pillars come in to fix that situation, although you've got 4 or 5 harbingers coming down. You don't see harbingers too often, so I'm actually not sure how effective they are, but a whole lot of riptides facing off against a whole lot of T1 point defense. Riptides are winning. They've killed one T2 mech so far. Going for the T1 point defense first. Not a bad idea. And then switch out to kill the last of the T2 mechs on that side. Still those sniper bots firing straight into the ground. The Aeon look fancy, but apparently not the smartest. Really, really nice raiding party up here. Milus is constructed. And you get a fourth T2 mechs. See what that does to the economies. Milus very far ahead now, actually. Over 60 mass per tick ahead. 5k total mass ahead. Reclaim pretty similar. Some bombers coming in over the top. Try and add to the destruction, but air superiority very much in the hands of Pricky T. 5 or 6, I don't know, look at that, 10 Oblivion turrets have been built to deal with this raiding party. Another 5 have been queued up. Harbingers being built as quickly as possible. But it will be a while before Pricky T can take back control of this expansion. Should really have engineers coming out already to at least hoover up the mass over here. It's down on mass. Yeah, stalling heavily now. So he really wants to get this mass. There's 10,000 mass just here. Very much within reach. Finally taking over those engineers to get that mass. And these Riptides have avoided the Oblivion turrets. They've gone all the way around, not going to touch the main base. They're going to go into this left-hand expansion. Harbingers and engineers responding. So like the Harbingers actually pretty effective against those Riptides. The sniper bots have finally decided to kill something other than dirt. Moving over to the side. Looks like they do have a firing solution on this base here. T2 mechs does go down at the hands of these Riptides. Few T1 PDs being destroyed, but a ton of Harbingers now. We'll make light work of that. Harbingers, looks like they killed the pillars. Didn't kill the T2 mechs over here and then moved back up to defend, but a big push coming in now. Lots of T2 units. No Harbingers in the mix, but looks like he's not going to need it. I suppose those Riptides must have killed the TML over here, so that's not going to be used to take out any more of these structures, but the Blazes holding their own for now. Those Asylums being really helpful, protecting the Blazes against the Triads. Looks like the sniper bots went down. Yeah, 3 sniper bot wrecks there. 4th one managed to escape with its life. And now that those shields have all gone down, Ricky T going to evacuate his remaining forces. T3 air has been started for Milus. Do we have any air tech? Still just on T1 by the looks of it for Pricky T. He's also starting T3 on his commander.
Commander under attack.
Looks like he's got the economy to do both at the same time for now. And Harbingers coming in. So those forces, including the commander from Pricky T, going to renew their attack. 68 kills. Oh, jumped straight from 68 to 71, that's a shame. 70 odd kills on that commander. 10.5k mass. Deleted. 5 veterancy points. He's managed to do a lot of work. Just 3k mass killed with this commander over here for Milus. Using it more as an engineer. Currently upgrading to T3 on that engineering suite. This expansion has been reclaimed, but Mile is taking the initiative, taking the T2 engineers forwards and building T1 mexes on that expansion. And we've got Percival's rolling out, 3 Percivals on this Starlifter, a T1, no, T2 transport for the UEF. I thought he was going to drop them off over here, but it looks like he's taking them around the way. Going to attack this expansion here. He is going to drop them directly in range of those T1 PDs. But a quick volley from the Percys deletes those point defense. So we'll keep an eye on that, see what happens there. Harbingers, again, taking out these mass points over here. A lot of T3 units just sort of patrolling the base over here. Meanwhile, Percivals make light work of these factories and kill a Harbinger just as it's born. Just T1 mexes though over here, although a lot of mass being spent on point defense and factories and such. And this is a nice switch, I would say. Fervor's very cheap to build and can be quite effective against units like Percival's. Bit of a standoff in the middle. All the APMs, I think, going being invested on this side, and the T1 engineers actually moving forward to reclaim. Taking a cue from Ukraine, the civilians picking up forces, picking up arms, defending their lands. Harbingers coming in now to take out the last Percival. So 3 Percival wrecks, that's about 3k mass, not really a lot of damage done. But the Harbingers have managed to sneak in over here. I'm not sure how they managed that. What's the point of this base if not to prevent this exact scenario? Oh dearie me. 3 T2 mexes go down, a 3rd one will go down, but the Percivals over here will prevent anything else from happening. Got T3 air. I saw a T3 scout somewhere for Miles. Not sure where it's gone. T3 air factory currently idle. And T3 air completed now for Pricky T, so both players investing a little bit more. And a big volley for TMLs there. And the Volcano TMDs from the Aeon, a single cycle, I suppose you would call it, can take out basically any number, but a T3 Mex has gone down, so this Volcano managed to kill 4 missiles at once, but not able to protect the main base against missiles. Volcano's gone up here, and there it goes. The flare goes up. I think that will be the end of that. These TMLs will have a difficult time doing much else. More Percys have been dropped in. It's like a drop of 4, but all going to go down before they can do too much. Well, that said, it is just a single Harbinger against a single Percival now, and the Percival will come out on top. Just 200 hit points left on this T3 reactor. So that missile is redirected away. Percival kills the Harbinger and is going straight for the main base. Going to run into 2 more Harbs though, not going to get a whole lot done. On this side though, 3 Harbingers have taken out some mass points over here and are going... Are they going to be able to get a T3 mechs? So, Retribution. T3 mechs of Malice is going down. There it is. Percival's in the area, but APM's being spent elsewhere, and another T3 mech's going down. Oh no. Shifted focus. Easily could have killed this mechs, but not paying quite enough attention. Big horde of Harbingers. What would you call, what's a herd of Harbingers called? What's the collective noun for Harbingers, I wonder? Harbingers over here have gone down to the Percivals. The GC was started. Where is that? There it is. Almost completed. That's gone up quite quickly. Or maybe it was started ages ago and I just kind of forgot about it. I'm not sure. But oh well. These TMLs have done a decent job, and Bricky T... Oh, he has spotted them. He has flown over them. So he knows they're there. Not doing anything about it for the time being. But Galactic Colossus has been completed. 38 minutes. Got our first experimental. Lumbering forwards. Slowly making its way into the fight. So, here's something I want to talk about. Has anybody seen the new Batman film? Bit of a tangent. Has anyone seen Robert Pattinson's Batman film? I'll be honest, it was a little bit disappointing because, among other things, Robert Pattinson did a lot of this, a lot of walking menacingly. Looks very sort of emo and threatening, looks quite cool, but when he does it for 2 or 3 hours, it looks a little bit silly. Not a whole lot of, what do you call it? Not sure what the word is. Excitement, something like that. Yeah, that the wandering GC made me think of that. GC gets in range now of this forward base. He's going to make quick work of those shields. Just triads and clink hammers to defend 100,000 hit points, -1 on that Galactic Colossus. It's turning tail. Percival's coming in. So when you're in this situation, I suspect there's nothing you can do to prevent this GC from dying. So do what Pricky T is doing here and keep it facing forward so it can actually fire its gun, actually get some damage down before it dies. There you go. 24k mass killed. It's about 20k on that GC. We're at 22k, so just about worth it. Do we have any more experimentals being built? Do we have any nuke silos being built, I wonder? 41 minutes into the game. Fat Boy has been started. No recognition of nuclear threat from either player. No nuke silos or nuke defences have been built. A lot of ASFs coming forwards to make absolute mincemeat of the interceptors from Miles. Bringing his commander forwards. Potentially gonna go and clean up that wreck. If he can get the mass from this wreck, that will be really nice. Yeah, and that's exactly what he's gonna do. A lot of bombers coming out now. Heavily assisted T3 factory. Spewing out bombers. What exactly are they hoping to achieve, I wonder? Just generally firing on this forward base, softening it up. Brickety has identified that he has a vast superiority of the air, so he's deciding to build offensive units. Honestly, just build strategic bombers, I think, at this point. Even in the late game, T1 bombers have their use, but most of the time I prefer to just see strategic bombers. ASF's flying over the SAM launchers, but most of them remaining alive. Defensive clink hammers going down for Miles. Another lull in the action, although we've got a whole bunch of pillars moving north. A bunch of fervors in defense, with a few harbingers to assist. Not sure what the plan with all these fervors was. Possibly just defending against Percivals, I'm not sure. Speaking of Percivals, Miles moving forwards with those T3 assault bots. With the help of a parashield or two, I'll try and take out some of these harbingers. Retreating now though. All these pillars, looks very scary, but not really able to do a whole lot, to be honest. Not even able to kill a single T1 mechs. It's just a bit of a mass dump, to be honest. I think they killed one, maybe two harbingers. Yeah, it's a sort of 5k mass dump. And speaking of large quantities of mass, another Galactic Colossus completed for Brickety, moving forwards. Commander in tow. Fatboy done now. Fatboy can be quite useful in terms of defending against other experimentals. It can kite them out, outrange them. Galactic Colossus deciding that it doesn't want to face tank half a dozen Ravagers. Instead, Brickety just going to allow the Serenities, those T3 mobile artillery units, to do their grim work. Brickety's commander taking a volley of Ravager fire but moving backwards. An attack move out of a factory is allowing these T2 engineers to get a long-range reclaim job done on this GC wreck from earlier. A lot more Serenities coming down now. Fatboy gets in range. Galactic Colossus is going to want to do a bit of a dance or just get out of range if it can. Oops. sure how he's getting a firing solution on those engineers, because there is a stealth generator nearby. He doesn't have an Omni sensor, as far as I can tell. Over 7,000 hit points on those Percivals, so they do take quite a beating before going down. GC going underwater. I suspect it would be a nice idea to bring this GC round to the right, possibly. Use up some of Marlis's APMs, get that second GC moving forwards maybe. These defensive clink hammers firing on the ground. Trying to fire on these harbingers. Not very accurate though. Second Fat Boy has been started, going up very slowly. Let's take a look at the economies. Neither player stalling. It's just a case of build power. And a big Percival drop, a Continental laden 6 Percivals. Going straight for the main base. Tactical missile launchers come out. That volcano will do exactly as it did before. Extremely effective, those volcanoes. Percivals kill a sniper bot and then get to work on the build capacity. APM's being spent elsewhere, it looks like, because we'd like to see this T1 PD go down. Let's take a look at where the experimentals are. Fat Boy coming up, and as I suggested might happen, we've got the GC coming around to the right. We do. I was looking for the second GC, there it is. It's coming around to the right as well. Make light work. Effectively 3 T3 mexes here. Put basically the full amount of mass investment into those T2 mexes, so they might as well be T3. And the Fat Boy whittling away at these harbingers. All of them go down eventually. Harbingers come in to defend. Ooh, one more shot would have killed this T3 mex, but those 4 Percivals just able to kill 1 T3 mex. Not a whole lot else. 2 GCs facing off against a horde of Percivals. And the one-shot power of those gravity beams from the Galactic Colossus really, really effective against Percivals and similar units. These GCs on the right hand side have made light work of this expansion, and 3 more T3 mexes potentially about to go down. Yeah. Splitting up for now. Marlis has built a second Fat Boy, hoping to defend against these GCs, hopefully. It's a lot of mass points, that's over 150 mass per tick. Gone down, if my math is right, for Marlis. That's over a third of his economy has just been deleted. GC is going to retreat. Not going to worry too much about actually out-healing the damage from this Starlifter. Not the most impressive gun in the world on that. T2 carrier. Second fat boy getting in range now. Where's the first fat boy? It died. Ah, no. I think this is the first fat boy. This is the second one. But the first fat boy has wandered into range of a GC, and that is not what you want to do. Just 12,000 hit points, not including the shield on that fat boy. You really, really need to utilize the range and the ability to kite out all that mass safely in Malus's territory. This GC's turning tail, and this is where the fat boys shine, chasing a fleeing experimental. Fat boys will do a lot of work in this situation. And another GC. I believe that's the fourth one that Prickety has built. Excuse me. And another lull in the action. Prickety reshuffles his experimental forces. Oh, there's another fat boy. A third fat boy, it looks like, built for Malus. Let's take a look, see if we've got any. Oh my, what is this? These mass fabricators? Goodness. As I was saying, looking for nuclear armaments. Don't see any. No missiles, no defences for either player. Both players electing to fight war the old-fashioned way. That's what we like to see. $16,000 hit points left on that GC. Almost 90,000 left on that one, but the next GC is moving forwards, and it's found the Ravagers and Clink Hammers. Ravagers deal a lot of damage to experimentals, but the GC has a lot of hit points and a lot of DPS. Once it gets in range, it can do a lot of work. Killed the majority of those Ravagers, going to start working on the Clink Hammers. Percival's being brought over from the right hand side. They will take a while to get there though. Two fat boys now in range. That's more what we're after. Let's take a look at this cinematic style. Artillery comes in from two angles. There we go. GC slowly walking away. $50,000 hit points. I'm counting down on that GC. I suspect it will die. Trying to do a little bit of a dance. Trying to get to the water as well. Oh, the fat boys have redirected their fire. That GC will live to tell the tale. Did some quite nice work. Killed 5 or 6 Ravagers plus some Clink Hammers. Not too bad for a day's work. Now though, two fat boys coming in to kill these Harbingers. I wonder what the range difference is between fat boys and sniper bots. That is something to look into, I think. But we've got 4 GCs currently on the field for Prickety. Here they are. Doesn't want to move forwards with them though. And now a bunch of Spectres, T2 gunships for Prickety coming out. Finally killing these tactical missile launchers. A couple dozen kills total on those TMLs. This expansion, I think it was just T2 mexes over here, has been killed. Fat Boys and Co coming into range of a GC, but they're going to make quick work of it. Percival's getting into range now as well. Harbinger's joining the fight. Almost dead. Galactic Colossus coming in to support. Third GC coming in now. Fourth GC coming in from the left hand side. And those Fat Boys have been caught out. They're going to be able to kill one. Possibly a second GC going to go down? No. Those two Fat Boys absolutely deleted by those three remaining GCs. No Percivals left either, effectively. 4 Percivals on the front line, a couple more rolling off the back. Take a look at the economies. Marlis is running away with it in terms of total mass. 780 versus 600,000. But you wouldn't think that's the case based just on what we can see on the map. Wow, that's at 500 mass per tick. Surely must be reclaiming. Just 250 for Pricky T. But Pricky T very much with the unit advantage. More T3 mexes going down. Spectres over on the right hand side, there were certainly a lot more than this before. So those ASFs from Marlis doing their job, turning to base. A lot of them going to die now though. It's close actually. Pricky T superior numbers though will win the day. And 3 Galactic Colossus, all on quite low health, but it doesn't matter how low their health is, the gun still does the same amount of damage. And that damage is a lot. Another Fat Boy has been completed, and the AoE, or semi-AoE damage of that Fat Boy going to do a lot of work to both of these Galactic Colossus. Galactic Colossi, question mark? And a nuke silo started. So we'll find out where that is. Here it is. Take a look. Wow. 300 income, and he is stalling by over 1,000 mass. One of the Galactic Colossus has gone down. Not before he and his friends have taken out 3-4 power generators. He's going to get a 5th one. Oh, if he was paying attention. There we go. 6 T3, 7 T3 power generators. Bite the dust. That is, I would say, very much worth it. Marlis vastly ahead on mass income, but now that he's stalling 5,000 power, it's much more even. And some Harbingers. Looks like they're taking damage, they're really not. This Starlifter does essentially no damage. So these Harbingers are going to be able to take out all 3 of these T3 mexes completely unmolested. 2 T3 mexes went down here. This 3rd one on full health though. So despite being severely down on economy, it's 200,000 mass down total, and Pricky T is very much in control of the momentum of this game. Nuke defense started in response to that nuke launcher, but already a 5th done on the missile, and it could very much come down to this. Just a single T3 engineer. Surely, yeah, he doesn't know that. Oh wow, he is wasting an insane amount of mass there. Must be reclaiming or something. Yeah, he's reclaiming these GC Rex. starting a Novak satellite like that is really not what you want to do. Keep all the resources on this missile defense. Quarter done. That defensive missile will build very quickly. It's very cheap compared to the nuclear missile itself. Malice wanting to use all that mass income that he's getting from those wrecks, but having power problems. He's gonna have to build a lot more P-gens. Yeah, these GCs did some really, really important work, I think. 7 power generators destroyed, completely tanking Malice's economy. And on the left-hand side, a big group of Harbingers and Fervors have taken out some mexes. I'm not sure what tier they were, but this one certainly is T3, and it is going to go down. The Fervors can cross the water. I don't think the Harbingers can. The Fervors... Oh no, the Fervors can't actually. I'm thinking of the Seraphim equivalents, the Zuis, but the Fervors cannot cross the water, so these T3 mexes will be safe for now. Harbingers coming into range of this fat boy. Let's take a look at Malice's economy. He's much more balanced now. Building up some T1 point defense. He's built the SMD. It's a quarter done. Take a look. Oh, it's gonna be close. A lot of build power on this nuke launcher. Take a look at Pricky T's economy. Yeah, he's stalling power now. A lot of power goes into making these nuclear missiles. No build power currently on the missile defense. Defense satellite, the Novax has been completed. See what he's going to do with it. I'm getting really worried about that. Novax satellite coming overhead. He's probably going to spot this missile launcher, but if he was paying attention, he's going for the missile defense instead of the launcher, and that launcher has been completed. That is really unfortunate, and the defense missile has not been completed. Going right for the main base. There's no other defensive launchers as far as I can tell. Rover's being redirected, but this missile going to get there far too quickly. He destroys the launcher, but far too late. If he had destroyed the launcher instead of trying to kill the missile defense, I think he would have saved himself. There goes the base, there goes my retinas. Very nice. I think that will be all she wrote. So, Milas, almost 200,000 mass ahead total at the end of that game. Failed to scout his enemy's nuclear missile launcher. Actually, now that I think about it, because those GCs killed all of those power generators, Malice was not able to complete that missile defense system quickly enough. Really nicely played. Pricky T on significantly reduced resources and able to use those resources extremely effectively. Looks like Malice doesn't even have any so it's not enough actually to one-shot the Harbingers, so Vincent at its remaining base. Fat White doing his best, but now streams of shimmers, those T1 bombers coming out for Pricky T. There he is. Almost 40,000 total hit points, but without any units. Miles has surely lost this game. Just a touch. Support commander goes pop. Miles trying his best defend his commander against all these T1 bombers, but really not a whole lot he can do with zero economy.
Commander under attack.
Throws out the GG. Decries his failure to produce nuclear missile defense quickly enough. He had several things go wrong, and if any one of them had gone right, he would have built that missile launcher. If he had kept one or two more of those power generators that were killed by the GCs, I think he would have built the missile quickly enough. If he had scouted the nuclear missile launcher earlier, he definitely would have built the defense quicker. And if he was paying attention at all with this Novak satellite, he would have killed the launcher before it got his missile. One cycle away on that Novak's ion cannon. Just one round more would have killed the launcher before it got its missile away, but there we have it. A really nice game from both players. A lot of back and forth, some really nice tactics being used. TML forward bases up here. We had some T3 drops. Both players quite slow to get into the air game, but once they did, that had a significant impact, I think. Yeah, there we have it. Thanks for watching. I think it was one of my favourite games that I've casted so far. I'd be very grateful if you guys could subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, tell me what you think I should do better, tell me what content you would like me to cover. But yeah, thanks again. Goodbye.